I'm Douglas MacArthur. This is my presentation for Communications 101 for Professor Alban. Today I want to talk to you guys about post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as combat stress, and the way it's affecting the troops that are coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan. As you all know, my name is Douglas MacArthur. I'm a former Marine Sergeant, permanently employed with the Department of Veterans Affairs as a police officer. So the purpose today is to give you guys an understanding of some of the symptoms and indicators that someone's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm going to give you a scenario. I want you guys to close your eyes for a couple minutes and really focus on the words that I'm going to give to you. Okay? So if everyone just close their eyes. It's the summer of 2005 at the height of the war in Iraq. You're a United States Marine who's been deployed to the city of Ramadi, thought to be the most dangerous city in the world. Your team has been tasked with clearing an area of a town for any insurgent activity. The temperature is 130 degrees and you've been on patrol for nearly 5 hours with over 60 pounds of gear or weapons. Your uniform is soaked with sweat all the way through your boots, as if you just walked through a deep puddle. You're exhausted, hungry, and almost out of water. But you must push through to accomplish your mission. As you kick the door in on the last house of your patrol, you hear a barrage of gunfire coming from inside the house. You hear the snap of the rounds as they pass only inches by your head. You came inches from death, but as you look to your left, you see your fellow Marine and best friend on the ground, bleeding severely. The gunfire has yet to cease, but as a Marine, you know what you must do. How do you respond? Next slide. I want you to keep this in mind. You can open your eyes. Keep this in mind as we go through this, how you would respond to this situation, and try to grasp an understanding of why these guys might be suffering post-traumatic stress disorder, and try to relate to that feeling that you might have had during that scenario. You'll see on my slide, approximately 20% or 3,000 veterans of the Iraq and Afghanistan war suffer from symptoms associated with post-traumatic stress disorder or major depression. And this is according to a 2008 research study by the RAND Corporation. Now, based on the research by the RAND Corporation, the United States Department of Veterans Affairs PTSD website, and the U.S. Veterans Information website are presenting this information about the occurrence of PTSD and how to identify some of the indicators. You can take the slide up. One of the major or most commonly known indicators of PTSD is anger or outbursts of aggression. They've been identified through all three of the research studies as an indicator of the post-traumatic stress disorder. According to the VA website, anger is one of our body's natural survival responses. This emotion provides us with the energy to cope with life stresses and continue in the face of trouble or danger. So many of our returning veterans have experienced life-threatening situations where that sudden outburst of anger or aggression has been the very thing that's gotten them through that situation. But when they return home, they forget how to cope with these stresses, everyday life stresses, and they resort back to that anger and aggression. And that's why the veteran may respond to every situation with that full activation of anger, just as they did in combat, even if the situation was a normal day-to-day occurrence. So that's one of the main indicators, is anger. Second major indicator is avoidance behavior, which is the veteran avoiding any discussion or movie scene that might relate them back to their time overseas. Now, not all avoidance is bad. Obviously, just like any of us would do, we will tend to avoid talking about circumstances of difficulty in the past, which is a good thing for the veteran. But when it comes to an extreme and they lock themselves in the room and avoid any social contact, that's when we need to take action. Show the second slide for me. The third major indicator of PTSD is nightmares or flashbacks. If you look at the slide up here, just gave you an idea of how often or how much these veterans that suffer PTSD might have nightmares or flashbacks. So that's 71 to 90% of veterans suffer those things. Although the flashbacks or nightmares may not be induced by a specific event, there are several physical signs that may indicate one of these events is taking place. According to usvetinfo.com, some of these signs are rapid heartbeat, abnormal perspiration, mental confusion, changes in eating and sleeping habits, and the inability to concentrate or make sound decisions. So those are things that, if you see these things, you need to get with the veteran and try to talk them through some things. So as you can see, although these are only several indicators of PTSD or veterans suffering from PTSD, the signs can often be very, very clear. Again, post-traumatic stress disorder is a growing concern of our nation's veterans, and identifying these indicators early on can help alleviate further problems. Monitoring for PTSD indicators of outbursts of anger, avoidance behavior, and nightmares or flashbacks could greatly reduce the chance of the veteran's PTSD getting even more severe. So again, when dealing with a veteran suffering from PTSD, always consider the circumstances and dangerous situation that they have overcome, just as I illustrated in that scenario I gave you early on. How would you cope with these issues, and how would you want to be treated? That's something we gotta remember when we're dealing with these veterans. Awareness of these indicators could be crucial to the extended lives of our nation's heroes. We owe them every bit we can give them for the courageous things they have done to defend our freedoms and privileges. Thank you.